All right, here we are at the end of the final, to end the event, StarLadder Season 2. So this was a big finals. We had the down to top 4 over the past 3 days, and 6-0 took the win in the end against Seshwire, which incidentally was the first match to kick off the LAN finals.
Yeah, and it wasn't the only time they met either. They met in the
they actually today
semi-final of the winners
sure.
bracket today. So
right.
It was kind of interesting to see them playing against each other so many times and actually adapting their strategy as we went. But anyway, starting off to the day, we had Zixo against Dr. Hippie, where the freeze mage of Dr. Hippie, as expected, kind of got bullied by Zixo, and he was able to take a pretty easy and convincing win over Dr. Hippie there, advancing him to the winners bracket, knocking Dr. Hippie down to the lowers bracket. And then we had
Seshwai versus Naiman, that was a 4-2 in favor of Seshwai, ended up also going directly to the finals after beating 6-0 as a follow-up, which, interestingly enough, led to him losing to 6-0 in the finals.
Yeah.
One of the big stories, I think, of this top 4 was the fact that 2 players from Virtus.pro ended up in the bracket, with Naiman and Dr. Hippie having the team kill for that third spot. Yet, Dr. Hippie ended up losing again to 6-0 in the end, which meant that even though the team could have gotten a major win, that didn't happen today.
Well, one of the things that happened between Dr. Hippie and Naiman there in the losers bracket is Dr. Hippie had a lot of favorable RNG. In one of his Druid openings, he actually had 3 Innervates, which, as far as Druid goes, that's a pretty good way to do it. And then Seshwai versus Zixo, I think, was really the story of the day. Like, they played each other twice today. Once, not in the finals and once in the finals. And when they first met, Zixo's ban against Seshwai was on his Reno lock. He was afraid that the Reno lock was going to be able to get a free win against his warrior. But after, seeing his Reno lock get played and figuring out more of the cards in the Reno lock, he realized there's no Jiraxis in it. There's no N'Zoth package. It's the combo Reno lock. And he felt like his Cthulhu warrior could actually outlast the Reno lock. And then in the finals, he decided to take an interesting ban approach and go banning the mid-range hunter. And then when the warrior met up against the Reno lock, which Sheshai was trying to hit, that's a matchup he wanted, Zixo was able to win that matchup just because his Cthulhu warrior deck wasn't susceptible to the Reno lock, as the Reno lock wasn't tech to deal with warrior. Everyone thought, it's Reno lock, it's just going to be able to beat warrior. That's typically what Reno lock does. But Zixo was able to identify that that's not the case based on how the decks are built.
Right,
and,
I think that's a really big story, because one of the, running wisdoms in the current metagame is if you're playing warrior, you get farmed by Reno lock no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And that's not even the case here. Like, I guess Jiraxis would have changed the story, of course, if it had been found on time and eventually outvalued Cthulhu Warrior. But all those tweaks were really apparent, I guess, in the entirety of the event, in the top 8 at least. We had a lot of meta decks that were also modified tremendously. Like, Tempo Mages were never quite the same. The Cthulhu Warriors were different. We had Reno Locks from a few players, Stansivka included, Hoy as well, and they were all a bit different in the way they were going to be trying to win. So I think one of the big things to take away from the event, just overall, is we're at the end of an expansion with Old Gods. We've been a few months in, yet we still have new decks in a way, because we get, decks that are existing, but you can tweak them so much that they play very differently to their win conditions.
True, and being able to identify how those decks are tweaked and being able to figure out how they interact with each other is the strengths that will allow you to win the tournament of the century, and that's what Zixo proved here today, as he was able to take the title, and a big congrats to him taking the
I have nothing to say, dude. He is the champion of the century. So that'll sum it up, really. I think overall, 6-0's performance has been nothing short of stellar. There's a few missteps that he identified himself along the way.
Most of his misplays were actually just misidentifying how much mana he had was one of the misplays. Right. And then the other one was accidentally thinking he had lethal when he didn't have lethal. But overall, his technical plans and whatnot throughout the game of just this is the line he's supposed to be taking was generally speaking spot on.
Absolutely.
So, if he maybe needs some glasses or something, and that would improve his play dramatically because he can identify what lines are the correct play. It's just he isn't sure how much mana he has.
Beyond the meta. Beyond my glasses. So I hope you guys will watch the games. If you haven't watched them yet, I think it's a good idea to just try to find the VODs for those. I mean, honestly, the top 8 was full of those amazing games. I think we had the very high skill overall.
Yeah.
A few games were kind of outliers, but overall, I think the series were great. So, yeah, kind of sums it up for the Season 2 StarLadder.